Hey guys, how's it going? Today I'm looking at Risk of Rain 2. I did play the first Risk of Rain briefly, and it was like this 2D pixelated thing similar to Noita where the whole screen would be destroyed and you're some alien, or like an astronaut stranded on an alien, place, and you just have to shoot things side to side. And frankly, I hated it. It was like, this is just a game. There's not even like a style or aesthetic. I'm just shooting stuff, and there's really not even the music or anything was really engaging. And I thought, and my buddies were really into Risk of Rain 2, and I thought, okay, maybe, this one is full 3D, and I was like very impressed. I looked at it and thought, is this the same game? There's no way this is the same game, but sure enough, it was, and it is. It's full 3D. Yes, it's cell shaded, but it's very visually impressive. Like, okay, this is gonna be the game. This is gonna be the fun one. And it's multiplayer too, so you can invite your friends. And full disclosure, I don't like this game. I don't like Risk of Rain 2. I really just, we played a few matches where you had to go around waves of enemies and fight them. And so you have your main attack where you're firing with your guns, and then you have like three I don't know what to call it. It's like side powers or whatever, like Overwatch. And so those might be like, increased, bullet speed, a stun attack, an alt heavy attack, and then like your ultimate, which you can get through buying power-ups. And so the way it works is that you get credits for defeating enemies. You spend those credits on chests around the map so you can get more upgrades, in a rogue style. And so every time you start a new match, you unlock new characters and you get new stuff basically, and so you get power-ups, and you'd want to make the best or as best builds, because you don't know, maybe I get more X power this time. And so you build all that up, you take out the area boss, and then you go to this fountain, and it allows you to teleport you to the next area where you repeat the same thing. And so it's funny why on paper this sounds fine, but actually playing the game, I just can't care about it. Even when I played with friends, I'm like, okay, so we're shooting the thing, and the bosses essentially are just giant, bullet sponges that you need to avoid their attacks. Enemies, there are flying ones, ground ones, and you just fight them and shoot them. And what I was getting flashbacks to was Payday 2. And Payday 2 is a game I really wanted to like and really wanted to enjoy because of all the memes. But actually playing it, I just felt like I don't know what to say. There was no depth to the gameplay. Like, I'm shooting guys. I like shooting guys. Believe me, I love Halo and, Gears and Counter-Strike and all these other games. But the kind of feeling I got was that, I don't know how else to say this, but like, I'm just doing the same kind of shooting over and over again. And I had that in Payday 2, where it's like, okay, cool, I'm shooting cops, or now there's like an armored vehicle, but I felt like my strategy of shooting this horde of enemies was boring and repetitive, and I realized I actually need more gameplay elements than this. For example, I thought of what if we had Left 4 Dead 2, but there were no mutants. There were no, like, I forget, boomers, screechers, stinkers. I forget what they're called, but you know what I mean. The hunter, etc. And I thought, if you remove that from Left 4 Dead 2, I know, God, no tanks. It would be a very kind of boring game because your strategy for dealing with each enemy really wouldn't change. And there are enemies in this game where it's like, okay, this guy has more health, I need to like use the special powers on him. But nothing ever really justified me, shooting all these guys or putting so much effort into the game. It's like, yeah, cool, like now I have like an extra damage output if I do this, and now I have this extra power so I can fight the enemies better. But maybe aesthetically, musically, whatever, I simply was not enjoying this game. I don't know what to say. I think a rogue style space adventure game that's a multiplayer shooter sounds like a great idea, but I'd rather a perfect example would be, Deep Rock Galactic. I far more prefer that game because there's a lot more strategy. It's more of a role-based shooter, similar to like Battlefield, where, okay, I know you're the driller. I've played driller. I know what you can do, and I need you to do this thing. And it's about that teamwork and cooperation, and yeah, shooting a lot of things. I mean, tons of bugs too. In fact, if anything, the enemy variation in that game is way less than this game. You have a bunch of bugs. Sometimes you have like a bigger bug, or like a horde or whatever, or you have the loot bugs, for example. But by and large, for the most part, I felt like this game's gameplay was just too similar. It's too repetitive. I felt like I was doing the same kind of shooting, the same kind of strategies over and over again. It's like, hey, shoot at this guy, then do this power, then do that power. And when we went to the boss, it was the same thing, just more intense. But in Deep Rock, you have like, a primary weapon, secondary weapon, a certain grenade you use. You level up your things after each mission. Aesthetically, it's interesting. Also, the environment is totally malleable, so you have no idea where you're kind of going or where you could go. There's different strategies how you navigate the environment. So yeah, if I put Risk of Rain 2 up against any other kind of modern-ish shooter, it's very, I guess, arcadey in a sense, but not in a good way, where it's like you can jump in and you start shooting guys, but it's like, again, there's no like story. Like, you're stranded on an alien planet. At least in Deep Rock Galactic, there's this story about the corporation that at least owns you and is making you, get these profits. So there's at least, I mean, it's more or less the same thing. It doesn't really matter, but I'm just very confused why this game is so popular and so critically praised, and other games like Deep Rock, in my opinion, just blow it out of the water. I also got through all the main stages to the final boss, Mystic or whatever his name was, to like the first, area. I thought, okay, cool. Here's like a boss fight, so I can put in everything I know. And it's like, okay, I mean, that was good. It was fine. But again, I'm looking at this thing as similar like Payday. Like, I love it on paper. I love the idea and the concept, but actually playing it, I simply don't care. I legitimately, I just can't find a way to care. And it's very strange that it's, again, a game I wanted to play. I played it with friends, and it just did not connect me. It did not speak to me at all. I like the rogue mechanics where you get these weird random things that upgrade and you think, okay, now if I do this, this will happen. But again, it just didn't justify mindless shooting, and that's what it felt like to me. I mean, you can fill a game with mindless shooting, but you need, I don't know, some kind of like escalation or variation, different enemy types that actually do something rather than just be more powerful. And maybe they incapacitate your team members, or they make an area of effect attack. And the whole presentation of the game too, maybe it's the level design now that I think about it. I think about how do I fix this? The level design, they all feel the same. They're big, open arenas for you to fly around and kill as much stuff as possible. But there's no sense of like, okay, now we're going into a canyon or a narrow parkway, or we're going into this area, and now there's going to get swarmed by this. Oh, you can pick up this weapon, you can pick up this item. Now it's like a mini boss fight, then there's like a major boss fight. Now there's horde, now there's not horde. Watch out for these things, they attract the enemy. There's so many more mechanics, I feel, and maybe I was just filtered, but from a first time playthrough, it doesn't force me to play in any other way other than just shooting everything as fast as I could in sight. And I just became like, I'm literally doing the exact same thing over and over and over again, and I'm not having fun. I mean, I'm having a little bit of fun, but there's only so much you can do when you do the same thing over and over and over again, and there's no variety. Anyway, I don't have much else to say about it. I just don't get why people like this. It's fine at best, but at worst, it's just a completely soulless, repetitive game. Anyway, guys, that's all I gotta say. See ya. Bye.